Hello everyone, real quick, I just wanted to make this video for you to undo the massive amounts of confusion in terms of what you're looking for on this scalping strategy. So as you know, a lot of us are ready to maybe move on to some new strategies, but we wanted to finalize everything we could in terms of this one to make sure that you're ultimately as successful as possible. So remember, like, I'm going to try to make this as short and sweet as possible. So this is a 5-minute strategy. What you're seeing right now on my chart is all you need. Please don't ask about these dots because we're going to make one more video with Scott and myself here in the next week or so that will finalize this final version, version 8 of the MACD, that limits all the confusion and takes out all the guesswork. So don't worry about these. I will explain them, but they'll be explained better in the indicator video to come. So as you guys know, the rules are pretty simple. This is the 5-minute strategy that we're using. And essentially all you're looking for is the break of the 50. You can wait for price or the 3 EMA to break the 50 SMA on the 5-minute chart. In conjunction with that, you're going to want to see your fast MACD, this green, above the 0 line. Okay, that's really all we're doing. I usually say 2 because 1 can kind of bounce up or down, especially if it's not closed. So my rule is typically 2, but you can kind of play that as you learn what you're doing. It's a kind of a fluid concept. So having said that, that's all you're looking for. Those are the conditions on the 5-minute chart. So that's it. As you can see, I've got a 3 EMA, a 9 EMA, that comes standard. 50 SMA, easy, also comes on MT4. This is a custom built indicator by Scott and myself. Well, Scott built it, my strategy, but needless to say, this we can get from the group. And this actually was Scott's idea. This is the 250 simple moving average, kind of showing you where the 50 would be on the 5-minute. So that's all this awkward kind of line is here. You don't need anything else on this chart at all. Remember, we're only doing this on pairs that have an ADR higher than 50, preferably closer to that 100 range, something along the lines of gold, something that moves a little faster or has enough volume. So that's basically it. Now, as you guys can see, we stopped having to use 2 screens because, well, now we have this fancy dancy indicator that does exactly what the 2 would do if we had them both side by side. So the 1-minute entry rules are, when everything lines up on the 5-minute, which again is pretty simple, the 3 EMA and price need to break the 50 SMA on the 5-minute chart, and your green fast MACD needs to be break the 0 or retest the 0 on the 5-minute chart. Those are your entry rules. So if those line up, you can take a new entry, a new scalp on the 1-minute chart based off of the following criteria. And that would be our 3 and our 9 crossover, break of the 0 on the, the 0 line on the fast MACD. Okay, we want 1 or 2 of those bars. And those are the two conditions. Mostly it's the MACD more than anything. And you'll notice this typically doesn't happen without this. Okay, this doesn't typically happen without this to follow pretty soon after. So it kind of goes hand in hand as you guys go back in time. So that's all you guys need to know. Please disregard every single thing else. Having said that, we'll discuss these kind of take profit. This would be like your trailing stop, and this would be your take profit. We'll discuss these dots when we discuss the newest version of the indicator. And obviously I took fractals off of this because I don't want any more confusion for people who don't know how to trade basic structure, naked charts, or supply and demand. I don't want anything that's people are gonna take those entries based off of that, and we don't want to play that. So as you guys know, with almost any strategy I do, I often take a look at the ADX, primarily because my momentum line, when it's below the 25, it keeps me out of stuff like this. Not to say that, I mean, they would have lost, well, these, yeah, would have lost. It keeps me out of that kind of nonsense and that mess, just basically because, I mean, when there's not enough momentum or enough volume, we don't want to be playing with it. And it's not perfect. It's still not going to be 100%. But either way, this is a nice additive if you like the ADX or your eyes can see the ADX, obviously depending on who you are and kind of what you like best. But for me and mine, I like this. So again, if similar rules apply, but we want the momentum line to be above the 25. And if we take one of these for a sell, for example, the sellers are in control, buyers are not. The sellers are also above the 25, if you guys notice here, and that's how we get this beautiful big drop. When this kind of stuff happens and they cross over, but neither of them are above the 25, we don't typically get huge moves or enough to really safely get in and out of the market. So That's about the only thing I would recommend adding if you're looking at something. Again, if your eyes see the TDI or whatever else you use, RSI, stochastic, or whatever else, you guys can add what you like to this, but that's the most and the absolute everything you need to know in terms of how to do that. And this chart is about as naked as I could make it to where it was still simple, doable, and understandable using only one window, not having to have two up at one time. Again, this is a 1 minute chart, and this strategy would work on any time frame, knowing that this data is going to pull from the time frame above it. So you would do the same thing if you wanted a slightly faster time frame. Just go to the 5 minute. I'd probably take this off. Well, you can even leave that actually. So you would see that, okay, this is going to give you all the entries, and now we're in the right direction. And there you go. You'll see kind of where it lines up. And then moving forward, once you guys have really perfected this, I want to take that time to do the slow MACD and tell you how I use that. And yes, it took me a while to see that, like my eyes just didn't see it super well. So I can show you exactly how I use it, but first I want you guys to perfect this and this alone. So I hope that answers any looming questions. I hope you fully understand what we're doing as a scalping on the 1 minute to the 5. You can take this to the 1 hour, to the 4 hour. There are a few people in the group who are doing amazingly well, like incredibly mind-blowingly woohoo well. So I'm really hoping you guys get a chance to realize how simple this is. This is not complicated. You're entering on this time frame based off of the higher time frames 50 and the higher time frames MACD. Simply put, that is all you are doing. It is not more fancy or more complicated than that by any means. So the last video we're going to make on this strategy specifically is going to be the one that teaches this indicator to the best of our ability, all inclusive, hopefully 15 minutes or less kind of concept, and that will be it. We'll do one more short challenge with this after maybe a week or two of kind of bereavement, and then we are going to start teaching a new strategy within the coming, I guess that would be 3 to 4 weeks. We shall see. So that's it. I hope this answers all your questions. Happy Wednesday, and I will talk to you soon.